you ever think your idea would come this far?
I had no idea that that day we'd arrive here almost 7 years later to a hangar full of DVs to finally get this idea on the airplane. So no, I was not ready for that. Couldn't have imagined it.
And so what was it like being a boom operator instructor?
It was a very fulfilling job. We got to train several students throughout the entire time we were here at Altus. It was very fulfilling for a reason of getting a brand new student, possibly has never flown on an airplane from whatever region of the country, and then teaching them, having their situational awareness catch up to where they're supposed to be, then watching them excel, eventually get their check ride, leave here and go out into the world, travel the globe. That was very rewarding.
I bet it is. What did that kind of help spark the idea for the new boom cushion, or what was the story behind it?
So the story behind it is I was the essentially how do I say this? So it initiated with the question of what are you doing about it, and then I came to realize that we had a serious issue that needed to be resolved. And as a scheduler, I also realized that I'm seeing this throughout the squadron when certain individuals could not fly and somebody else has to take over for them because they have neck and back issues. So I started adding up the numbers and asking with the permission of the individuals that had back and neck surgeries and compiled the medical data that I could from the individuals that gave me permission. And then realized that this is a big problem. And when the Surgeon General of the Air Force provided me that final number of $132 million per year in medical costs for active duty, reserve, veterans, and retired boom operators for a single career field in fiscal year 14, it just blew my mind that why has not somebody looked at this before? And the reason was it's a very tiny career field. There's roughly 800 of us. If this was a security forces career field, and every squadron had $3-4 million worth of injury, medical costs, everybody would raise an eyebrow and try to figure out how to solve that problem. But since it's a tiny career field, it was kind of hidden. But now it's brought up to light. It's explained to the Air Force at the senior leadership level in the Air Force, and that's why we have a brand new cushion on this airplane as of today.
All right. And how do you foresee that this boom cushion will improve the way we train our mobility aviators?
So essentially in the old way, what we used to do is, as the instructors, after months or sometimes years of being in that uncomfortable position, we develop injuries, right? So that I can no longer fly, and then you would come in and take over for me. Because of our very high ops tempo and combat environment being deployed, we're essentially eating through our career field, eating through the booms at a blistering rate, so that the people are developing these issues younger and younger. With this, we're trying to reduce those issues where somebody could have a better quality of life, and once they retire or choose to get out of the Air Force after honorably serving, they have a life afterwards. So this will have a big impact in the improvement of quality of life for a career field.
All right. How, if at all, has the boom cushion, the design of it, how has it changed since you released it, and do you predict any further changes?
So from the original, it changed in several ways. So we've been using a 2D solution on a 3D problem since 1956. So once we incorporated a 3D cushion into that weird hole, level out the floor, created a hip pillow, and then the chin rest area, we've pretty much replicated ergonomically designed cushion system for the instructor boom operators. Further changes to it could be that on the left side we would replicate that position to be more comfortable for future references. But as of right now, I don't see any changes coming for this.
Okay, awesome. How do you think this process has impacted you as an airman?
Immensely. I've got to see up front how the process works, of how the Air Force thinks about innovation, how they process innovation, how they think and process modifications for an aircraft, essentially on this project. So it's been an eye-opening experience. I've been to labs, offices, buildings that I would have never otherwise been in, and learned from those individuals, those PhD level to senior officer level individuals, how they think and how they process information and how they will help innovation move in this century throughout the Air Force. So it has been an immense experience, something that you cannot read in the book. You just have to go through it, and it took years. I wish every single airman would go through that experience, because then they can come back to their job and look at everything around them through a different set of eyes. Because every single one of us has a valid idea or project they can work on. We are the solutions to the Air Force problems. We're walking around in it every day.
So speaking of that, what does innovation mean to you?
Change. Essentially change. Adapting to new environments. Like I mentioned in my speech, in 1903, two individuals decided they're going to make an airplane and go fly. And that started the aerospace industry. Then in 1923, a couple of officers said, hey, you know what? Let's go air refuel. And so they did it. In 1947, we broke the sound barrier. We even had an airman jump from space just to prove he could do it, just so that he could certify the suits so the astronauts could go to the moon. He did that back in 1960. Innovation means change. Innovation means thinking outside of the box and not being afraid to challenge yourself and dream.
Awesome. What message do you have for airmen looking to bring about change to their work centers?
Wow. I can talk about this all day. You stumped me. Good job. What can I tell them? Get involved early on. Usually when we come in the military, we have to learn how to upgrade from 1 level to a 3 level, then do CDCs for a 5 level, take care of our core tasks and our 623s, and it's years before any supervision actually comes down to us and asks us to help solve problems. What I think should be done is supervision should be pulling the young airmen, officer enlisted, straight into leadership position think tanks or meetings that they're trying to solve problems, and help them understand what the problems are. They are more than just your AFSC or your current job at the building you work in. How commanders think and how they solve problems. Because once you return back to your job, again, you're going to look at the Air Force a little bit different than you did before. Because if you don't have that opportunity, if we don't push our youngest airmen up front to the front line and not force them, but ask them to help, get them involved, it's going to be years before they get there. So all those valuable years of potentially doing things smarter and faster have gone away. So in this instance, this project took 7 years. So essentially in a 20-year career, somebody could push 3 projects and that's it. But what if we started earlier? What if we forced our airmen to think outside of the box, get outside of their comfort zone, because nothing goes there, so they can start thinking critically early, so that in their career field, by the time they are 20 years from this point, our Air Force will be that much smarter.